Hey guys, this is Neon. Welcome back to Clownfish TV. We're going to talk about Disney parks, Galaxy's Edge, and Disney influencers, and the rabbit hole that runs very, very deep when it comes to Disney trying to control the story and the media. And we know about this from firsthand experience, having been on the other side of it, how this kind of works. And there's some interesting theories out there about Disney basically making sure that everybody loves Galaxy's Edge. Everybody's going to come to Galaxy's Edge, and they're trying very, very hard to silence or discredit critics. This doesn't surprise me. This really doesn't surprise me. There's a lot of money at stake, and when there's a lot of money at stake, people do some crazy things sometimes. So before we get into this video, please subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. This is Clownfish TV. We talk about pop culture. We do occasional rants. We have opinions on things as they happen, and we react to them. We are mostly opinions with a little bit of news. I'm making that disclaimer so people aren't like, you're a news outlet, you need to be more objective. We really don't. We're just reacting to the news. Okay, so this coming from the Motley Fool. It made the rounds yesterday. It went out to Yahoo, USA Today, a couple of other media outlets. Disney World needs Galaxy's Edge to succeed. This is true. Galaxy's Edge was a huge flop in California. Disney is having previews right now for Galaxy's Edge in Florida. It is a virtually identical park. I've actually been inside of it, and we'll talk more about that later. I was inside of it before they let anybody else in it. It was pretty cool. So yeah, pass holder previews for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge kicked off at Disney's Hollywood Studios in Florida this weekend. So we're going to talk a little bit about this from Motley Fool. Then we're going to talk about some of the Disney influencers and sort of how Disney is going to spin this, because they're not going to let Galaxy's Edge fail twice, even if it fails. They're already having all kinds of crazy discounts trying to get people to Disney World. The bookings are soft. The attendance is down. Disney World, the price has hit the ceiling. A lot of people are not willing to pay for the tickets now, the annual passes now, because the prices have gone, they've skyrocketed. And a lot of the attractions that people are excited about, like the Guardians of the Galaxy, Ratatouille, and all these other attractions, they're not open yet. They're not going to be open for another year or two. So a lot of people who go to Disney World, you know, aside from the Florida natives, if you only go to Disney World once every few years, you're probably going to wait until everything's open and not go to Galaxy's Edge, make a special trip to Galaxy's Edge to go down when there's only one ride open. You know, just like Disneyland, same kind of a thing. Now, I do think more people are going to be at Galaxy's Edge in Florida just because of the nature of the Florida park versus the California park. And we can talk a little bit about that later. But here's this article. We're going to read this, a little bit of this, and then we're going to talk about where the Disney influencers come in to try to drive traffic to Walt Disney World. So a galaxy is far, far away, finally within reach it for guests at Disney's sprawling Florida resort. Previews for high-end Disney World pass holders, high-end, the Platinum pass holders, kicked off over the weekend for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disney's Hollywood Studios ahead of the official opening for all park visitors on August 29th. Previews for the theme park's employees took place earlier in the month. That's actually very normal. They did this with Avatar too. All eyes are on Florida after Disneyland's similar 14-acre expansion failed to generate an initial pop in turnstile clicks. Disney stock took a hit after the company announced a surprising decline in domestic theme park attendance. Anybody who watches the theme park industry and watches Disney in particular was not surprised that the attendance was declining for a number of reasons. Things will be different this time. It's going to be different. It's going to be better. Things will be different this time. And let's be frank, this is only the first phase of Disney's Star Wars fueled expansion on both coasts. It's going to be okay, guys. Star Wars is going to be fine. Going into hyperspace. The chatter earlier this month that Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is a failure is wrong on nearly every count. Until the final week of Disney's fiscal third quarter, Disneyland limited availability to the new land to folks who made reservations, a process that filled up in less than 2 hours, weeks before the official debut at one of its 3 on-site hotels. Preparing for this ambitious opening, Disney moved to raise prices sharply higher and block summertime visits for many of its Disneyland pass holders. Disney World prices have also moved higher, but the late summer debut comes after the peak travel season, so pass holders have blackout periods that no longer apply. Disney World also isn't going to require reservations for the sci-fi update, freeing anyone at the park the ability to check in and out until it hits capacity. So they're not doing some of what they did in Disneyland, because I think they realize that it's not really worth doing. Disney World is going all out to make life easier for guests at its 24 plus on-site. This is like a commercial. This is the Motley Fool. This is like a commercial. Disney World's going all out to make life easier for guests at its 24 plus hotels. Hurry, hurry, hurry! Down to Galaxy's Edge. Overnight guests at Disney World hotels will have 3 hours of early morning access to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge during the first 2 months after the debut weekend. Slipping attendance for Disney's domestic parks in its latest quarter was a surprise, but it would be a shocker if we saw it again at the current and following quarter. I don't know. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge isn't a failure, says the Motley Fool, trusted media outlet. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge isn't a failure. It's not, people, because we told you it's not. The only ride available at the moment is getting mixed reviews, but the real star attraction isn't slated to open until December in Florida and January in California. Rise of the Resistance, which we talked about, is reportedly going to get some massive budget cuts, according to Disney insider Al Lutz, who's now being smeared. Al Lutz is actually being smeared right now, and we'll talk about this. Even if the upcoming debut of the elaborate Rise of the Resistance attraction doesn't raise the bar, Disney won't be out of options. Theme parks evolve, operators learn. Have we all forgotten that a Star Wars hotel is going up in Florida? No, at like $1,000 a night. No one has been as successful as Disney in this niche, and there's no point in branding it a loser before the game has even started. Long term, I think it'll probably do okay. I think it's probably going to take a trilogy retheme. Now, this is the thing. Disney's going to use the media, and they're going to use influencers to tell everybody that it's going to be okay. Because that's what they do. And the rabbit hole goes pretty deep, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Now, I do want to point out that Disney is in full-on panic mode, and they do watch the media outlets. They talk about, we talk about the discounts that they've given. They're slashing prices on tickets. Afternoon, you can actually get into any of their theme parks. I think it's under $100 if you wait until afternoon, after the lines have been, after the lines are like 2 hours, for some of the attractions. They're also doing a $299 all-you-can-party pass for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, which is unheard of at Disney. Now, Universal does offer something similar. I think it's like $259 or $260, but this is unheard of for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, which can creep up to over $100 per night, as you get closer to Halloween. Other than Halloween night, you can go all you want for $300. It's actually not a bad deal, but it could backfire because a lot of Florida residents will probably take them up on this offer, which means that they might crowd out people who are willing to pay $80 or $90 a pop. Don't know, but this is a panic move. This is a panic move. So are the discounted tickets. This means, and the free dining. We forgot to mention free dining. Disney's doing free dining during peak holiday season, which they normally don't do. They've had 3 free dining offers this year. That means that the bookings are down. They can spin it any way they want to, but we watch this. We watch Disney. Literally, up until recently, it was our job. It was my wife and I's job to watch Disney parks and comment on the Disney parks. We know that when they have deals like this, things are not good. This is a panic reaction. They're panicking. They're panicking. So here we have Orlando Sentinel doing an article too. Now, the Orlando Sentinel is usually pretty unbiased, and I think they are, but they're talking about the pass holder preview and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and they've got some interesting quotes. It's very much, this is very much a sales pitch. Here we have, it's humongous, said Brian Holland, a pass holder from Orlando. It's big and immersive. Honestly, I don't feel like we're even in Hollywood studios right now. I don't think it's I don't think it's, we're even here. It's basically all the bullet points that Disney gives people. It's humongous, it's big and immersive. I don't feel like we're in Hollywood studios right now. Beep boop bop. He and Ashlyn Holland praised the detailed theming of the land, which has a mix of futuristic and makeshift elements in a stark, hard-edged atmosphere. Visitors in Batu's Black Spire Outpost cannot see beyond the borders, not even into Toy Story Land. I wondered how they were going to do that. Where an entrance to Galaxy's Edge eventually will be open. They also praised the role-playing interaction with characters brought to life by Disney employees. These are all selling points that Disney, these are all bullet points that Disney is like, hey, it's an immersive experience. We've got role players. We've got, except for a recent article which outlined how Disney cut corners and they don't have as much role playing as they plan to. So talking about the ride, and they're like, the event was, they said Disney allows, the Hollands also rode the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run ride, which Disney says allows visitors to navigate the famed vessel from the films. Posted wait times range from 45 minutes to an hour. The event was reserved for pass holders of Platinum or higher status who signed up for a specific 4-hour slot to explore the land. Disney workers and friends have been visiting Galaxy's Edge throughout the month, and more previews will continue in the days leading up to August 29th. On Saturday, Christopher and Andy Krause tried the blue milk. They think they detected mango in there. Rode Smuggler's Run and bought souvenirs. That's what Disney wants you to do. They want you to just show up and buy souvenirs. We really don't need rides. It's Star Wars. It should sell itself. According to Bob Iger, they don't need to advertise Star Wars. Remember this? Remember this? Disney's Bob Iger. No need to market Star Wars Land when it opens. It's that good. It's that good. According to Disney, they didn't need to market Star Wars Land. Bob Iger just needed to put a tweet out. He literally said this. He literally said, this one's locked, but if you go out and search on Google, Google is your friend. He literally said they do not need to market Galaxy's Edge. That he would just have to tweet that it's open and people were going to come. That doesn't look like it's the case right now, does it? It looks like they're trying really, really hard to get people there. Very arrogant of Disney to think that people were just going to show up. It's gorgeous in here. You feel like you're living in a different world. It's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. And here you feel like you're living in a different world. My coworkers were thinking we were crazy for going, but the way that Disney did this setup and timed it out, whatever they're doing, they did a good job, because I don't feel like I'm rushed at all. These are all selling points. I don't feel like I'm rushed. It's gorgeous. It's immersive. The role-playing is great. The blue milk has mango. They said they have future reservations for Oga's Cantina, but they might come back for the grand opening. We might leave that for super fans, because the super fans are all going to show up on opening day. Here, Veronica Shortino and Chris Garrison, pass holders from New Jersey, were able to get into Galaxy's Edge. They rode Smuggler's Run twice, using the single rider options where operators fill all seats using folks who don't mind riding without companions. I thought it was great. I don't do rides, but it wasn't too bad. This one, though. This is the one that gets me. I thought it was nice, being that I'm not a Star Wars fanatic, yet you feel embraced in the world. You feel embraced. This sounds like, look, I don't know who these people were, but it sounds like Disney marketing spin. Would you return on the 29th? If there was no line, yes. Well, there's always going to be a line. It's Disney World, there are always going to be lines. Always going to be lines. But this is like, we've gone from, hey, we don't have to market Disney at all. We don't have to market Galaxy's Edge at all, to let's try really, really hard to tell people how great this is. You know, they've got all kinds of articles out here in the Orlando Sentinel talking about, all the... They basically are not going to let this fail. They're not going to let it fail. Even an article talking about how Disney World's version of Galaxy's Edge isn't going to fail is basically rubbing it in your face that it's not going to fail. They're going to make sure it doesn't fail. Now, also the Orlando Sentinel, Disney World offered Florida politicians a sneak peek at Star Wars, spawning ethics questions. Now, this is nothing new. Disney does schmooze politicians in Florida. Disney is one of the largest employers in Florida, if not the largest. So yeah, it does make sense. But yeah, there are ethics questions, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Disney influencers. So state ethics laws are strict about what public officials and employees can accept, stating they can't solicit or accept anything of value to the recipient, including a gift, loan, reward, promise of future employment, favor, service based on anything. So officials would have to pay to attend, but the event is still providing a glimpse and an attraction only available right now to Platinum Disney annual pass holders in advance of the 29th grand opening. Disney, the biggest corporation in Florida, yeah, they are the biggest, spent $28 million on state elections during the 2018 cycles. So they also deal with Disney on a regular basis. So Ben Wilcox, research director for the watchdog group Integrity Florida, was queasy about the event, saying it violates the spirit of the law, if not the law. It may technically be legal, and it may not constitute a gift that they would not be able to accept, but raises questions. Will lobbyists and corporate officials have access and influence at this event with legislators and elected officials? I think people are right to look at the appearance of what this event is and take it into consideration. So yeah, Disney of course is schmoozing politicians too, but they schmooze influencers, and we really want to talk about that because they're going to ramp this up. This article was actually sent to us by our friend Lauren, who we've known for a number of years, and she also hits the parks very, very regularly, and we've worked with her before. Disney has a love-hate relationship with people who cover the Walt Disney Company. We know this firsthand because up until recently, and I think we've said before, we actually ran a Disney-focused theme park blog that was supposed to be neutral. We were supposed to be advocates for consumers. However, the more involved with Disney you become, and especially in our case, we were working with another party with close ties to Disney, the more pressure they put on you to say nice things. Let's put it that way. You get stuff, you get perks, you get to go to things early, you get wined and dined, and the whole point of this, and you look at all of these Disney, quote unquote, Disney news outlets, all these Disney blogs, Disney YouTubers, at least the ones who have any influence, they are schmoozed by Disney with the expectation that you say nice things. We were given access before to different events. I think we talked about Toy Story Land before, and I was mostly positive. I think I gave it a B. I said that there needed to be more shade, and I wish there was more in the land. And we heard about it through the grapevine that Disney was not completely happy with what we said. I mean, this happens often. A lot of these blogs are actually controlled by, not directly by Disney, but maybe a travel agency with close ties to Disney that Disney can put the pressure on to get them to say the things that they want. There's usually another party involved. It's complicated, but let's put it this way. Most Disney blogs, most theme park blogs, a lot of them, most of the Disney YouTubers you see who get stuff from Disney, they become part of the Disney influencer campaign. And I've sat through rah-rah meetings about how Disney basically wants the influencers to be part of their marketing arm, because Disney doesn't have the money or the manpower to do it all themselves. They want influencers to go out using Instagram, using YouTube, using Facebook, Pinterest, and go out and spread their message. So they invite people to these events with the expectation they're going to say nice things. Of course you are. Disney's going to wine and dine you. They're going to give, I was allowed into events that people would kill to be allowed into. I was invited into Avatar when there was nobody there. I got to go into Galaxy's Edge before anybody was there while they were still building it. They put you in nice hotels. They feed you fantastic food. They give you behind the scenes tours on stuff. Yeah, they do. They treat you very well. But once you're part of that club, you're expected to play ball. That's the thing. We're out of that club. We were actually forcibly kicked out of that club. And that's a story for another day. But the reason we're being honest about Disney on this channel is that we can be honest about Disney on this channel, because we could not be before. And look, for whatever it's worth, for the most part, I do like the Walt Disney Company. My wife and I do like the Walt Disney Company. We're shareholders. We've had countless trips to Disney. But the truth is, Disney does try to buy off and control the media. and it's a very, very real thing. It's not paranoia. It's not a conspiracy theory. You know, I don't know how far the rabbit hole goes, but they absolutely use their influence and their money to schmooze the media. And that's just the way it is. They've always done it. They've done it for a very long time. They just have ramped up the efforts recently. Now, this article that was sent to us by our friend Lauren is talking about Al Lutz. Now, we talked about Al Lutz in a previous video. Al Lutz is the Disney fan advocate. I believe he was a retired record producer. But he's a huge Disney fan. He's a Disney insider. He knows a lot of people at the company, and he's very critical. He's very critical of things that he sees go on in the company that he doesn't agree with as a fan, as someone who's invested a lot of time and money into Disney. He wrote an article the other week on Galaxy's Edge talking about how there were budget cuts. This article, Promising the Moon, he talked about how Disney was promising the moon and they never delivered. That Galaxy's Edge was a shell of what it was supposed to be because of budget cuts, which I can completely believe, because we did see a lot of this stuff. And then as, you know, Disney started spreading itself thinner and thinner, they were acquiring Fox, that the budget basically got chopped on Galaxy's Edge, and that the final product shows, you know, these budget cuts because it's not impressive. It doesn't have the wow factor that people expected. So he put this out there. Within a few days of him putting this out there, here comes this random post on Medium trying to discredit Al Lutz, saying that Al Lutz is not actually Al Lutz, that Al Lutz is actually a Disney influencer in disguise who's is basically Disney pretending to be an anti-Disney advocate to actually further some nefarious plot, you know, going on within the Walt Disney Company. And, you know, this is a very long article, and they talk about this. There really is nothing to substantiate. Now, actually, on Al Lutz's Mice Chat page, they talk about it. They said they're going to address it, and Al is not happy that there's somebody trying to say that Al is not Al, that Al actually works for the Walt Disney Company and is trying to play advocate because there's some politics going on at Disney. But I personally think this is Disney reacting to Al's article, which made the rounds. I mean, we did a video on it. Many people have done videos on it. Many other news sites have commented on it. You know, and now we're seeing, you know, the backlash against Disney's Galaxy's Edge is sort of bleeding over into other media outlets, making sure they don't have a repeat incident. I will put this out there for you to read on your own. But I'm just saying, you know, there's all kinds of conspiracy theories about this, and people are like, even with Star Wars, you know, people are like, oh, there's all kinds of crazy theories, and why would Disney bother? Why would they? Because Disney wants to control the story. They want to control the media because they know that the public perception influences where people spend their money. If people spend their money, if the public perception of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge or the Star Wars franchise is it's a brand that's failing, people aren't going to come. So yeah, if you've got voices out there that are calling it out, like Al Lutz, you're going to do what you can do to shut them down. If you've got YouTubers like the Fandom Menace out there constantly riding Disney, constantly riding Lucasfilm, they're going to do what they can do to shut these people down, you know, or buy them off. And that happens a lot too. Well, if we can't beat them, we'll have them join us, and then the people will trust them. And we actually, look, I was at a marketing seminar at the Walt Disney Company not even 6 months ago. And they had one of their social media managers come in and basically say that the reason we use influencers, now they were nicer about it than I'm going to be. I'm being very blunt. But the reason they used social media influencers is that they have gained people's trust. They want you to trust these people. So when they sell you something, or they tell you something is good, even if it's not, you buy it. And how they do that is they invite people to all these events and, you know, cupcake parties and schmooze fests. And yeah, I mean, you know, it is what it is. This is access media. It's not just Disney. All the major studios do it. you know, but you're expected to say nice things in return for being put on the list. And, you know, it's just, you got to realize you know, they always try to be like, why is Disney going to bother with YouTubers? Why is Disney bothering with bloggers? Why do they care? Why do they care? And this says everything. This says everything right down here. Control the message by controlling the messenger. This person said, acquire the voice. You do not counter someone like Al. Talking about Al Lutz. You cannot counter him. You can, if done smartly, own that voice as your own, as a conduit of the Walt Disney Company. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty scary, but every studio is doing this. It's just Disney does it on a much larger scale. I don't know what's going on with the Al Lutz situation. I always thought Al Lutz was Al Lutz, or it was just a pen name and it was one person. But I do know that there are Disney insiders who use different names. There are some on some Disney forums that are actually Imagineers. I can tell you they're actually Imagineers leaking information to Disney fans. There are a lot of people within the Walt Disney Company that aren't real happy with the way things are going, but you know, it's their job. They work there. You know, they can't speak out. They can't speak out about it because they work there. You know, but the rabbit hole goes pretty deep. So you're going to start seeing more articles like this shoring up Disney World as we get closer to the launch of Disney World's Galaxy's Edge, because even if they have to freaking pay people, you know, Geeky joked, she said, what are they going to do a Groupon for free admission? I'm like, you know what, if it gets them in the parks and they can film video with a very packed Galaxy's Edge to counter all the negative press about Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge being a dud, they would probably do it. You know, they probably would. Who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? But they're slashing prices. You know, they really want people there. Very interesting situation to watch. You're going to see Disney's spin machine in full on. It's going to be firing on all cylinders. You're going to see the same thing with The Rise of Skywalker when it comes out, because they know Star Wars is a damaged brand and they're going to fire on all cylinders. And that means you're probably going to see more pushback against anti-Star Wars voices, or at least anti-Disney Star Wars voices on YouTube and on blogs. I guarantee it. I guarantee it, because they can't afford for Star Wars to fail. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.